Welcome to the second podcast for the online induction information for the BSc Hons Contemporary Health Practice degree. This podcast will provide you with information about how to enrol on the degree and your first unit, and where you will find information about your first unit and future units. To become a bona fide MMU student, and in order to access all the information and the university resources, you need to formally enrol on the university system. While you have already been accepted on the degree, you still need to enrol online for the degree itself and your first unit. In order to do this, you need to do several things. I will take you through these step by step. Firstly, the university needs to know what unit you will be studying in the forthcoming term as part of your degree. And you may have already applied for the unit via CPD Apply, or you may be funding the unit yourself. Whichever it is, even if you have already gone through CPD Apply, you also need to fill in one of the university unit's choice forms. So, how do you get hold of one of these forms? You will find the unit choice form at the URL address noted on this screen. Once on this page, there are several ways to access the information. You can use your MMU ID if you know that, and that will be found on the top of your admissions letter. But if you do not have an MMU ID, select I don't have a student MMU ID, and from the drop down box select the Faculty of Health, Psychology and Social Care. Scroll down the screen until you find the BSc Hons Contemporary Health Practice and click on Year 1. Once downloaded and completed, send this unit's choice form to the programme's office as noted at the end of the form. Perhaps you might not be sure about what first unit you want to do. If that is the case, go to the URL address noted here, and you will find information about all the units that we have available currently in our CPD portfolio. All of these units are fundable under CPD Apply, and you will also find a copy of this information via the welcome page. That URL address is also shown on this slide. So, a little bit more about enrolling online. As mentioned earlier, you need to go through a formal enrolment process, and to do so, your unit choice form must be returned so that a student record can be set up for you. Approximately 48 hours after returning this form, you need to enrol online, and you do this by going to the Enroll web address noted on screen. Select Click here to enrol online. To proceed with online enrolment, you need your MMU ID and your password. This password is initially set as your date of birth. You will find instructions about this on the Enroll Online system. Click Continue, and this will open a screen with university regulations. Please read this and click Submit. Follow the instructions, and at some point it will show the units you've been accepted on. Click that all the details are correct and change as necessary. The last page will indicate funding. If you have CPD funding, this should be shown. Don't forget to click Submit on the last page. If any of the information about funding or other details seems incorrect, please contact the Student Hub on the number or email indicated on this slide. Little bit of information about other units you might be interested in. We offer an acute care and critical care unit. These are run by one of our collaborative partners, and you need to apply to them directly. The first thing to do is ask your practice educator in critical care for further information. Please note at the moment these units are only available to registered nurses, and they're not directly part of the contemporary health practice degree. So if you do take them, you will need to seek to transfer them into the contemporary health practice degree at a later date once you have completed them. This process will involve using our APEL, and you will find out more information about APEL on podcast 3. If you have any questions or queries, contact Claire Street. Here is some useful information about what to do next. For instance, once you have selected your unit and enrolled online, check the timetable for dates, times and room number, and simply turn up for your first session. The unit leader will have you on their class list, and you do not need to inform them directly. Please do check that you know where the room is. It might not be at the Burley campus, and the Student Hub will help you with this if there isn't room details noted on the timetable. I do think that currently all our rooms are scheduled within the Burley campus, so there should be no problems with that. With regards to further information about the unit, occasionally the unit leader will provide further information, but mostly all the necessary information is provided during the first taught session. If there is any additional information required, this will be sent to you via your MMU email account, or will be made available on the welcome page. Occasionally, things do not go to plan, and you might need to withdraw from a unit or change your choice, and you may be able to do this. If you wish to seek to do this, you need to contact Claire Street on the email address or phone number noted on the screen to discuss the necessary process and paperwork, and to ascertain if you are eligible to be removed from the unit. You will also need to check that if any changes are okay with your CPD lead if you've been funded by your organisation or through CPD Apply. What to do about my next unit? You will find the latest information about units at the URL address noted on screen. These units will also be available on CPD Apply. You will be able to choose from all of the units identified on the timetable. And don't forget, you must do the compulsory evidence-based practice at some point, although this does not have to be the first unit you do. Please note that units available after Easter will not be published on CPD Apply until January or February. Information will be on the same URL address as noted on this screen. further information about units, please note that we will only run a unit if there are a minimum, usually of 6 to 10 students selecting the unit. If there is a problem with this, we will let you know via your MMU student email account. The timetable at the URL address will also show any amendments, for example, to room numbers, as well as any other changes, so do check this on a regular basis. What happens if you are actually struggling with some of the commitments on the course? For example, what if you're struggling to meet a deadline date? If this is the case, you must apply to something called exceptional factors. The information about this is accessed via the URL link shown on the screen, or you could contact the Student Hub. Neither your unit leader nor Clare Street can give you an extension, so you must contact and go through exceptional factors if you think you have a problem. Nevertheless, please do contact Clare Street for further advice if you wish. Other issues? What if the worst happens and you fail a unit? You are eligible to 2 more submission attempts for an honours award. And if this happens to be the case, you are given another hand-in date by the Board of Examiners. An official letter will be sent to your home address giving the date and details of any resubmissions required. And at that point, we strongly advise that you contact your unit's tutor for advice. Further information is also available in the Getting to Grips with Academic Assessment Handbook, and that, as already mentioned, can be accessed via the URL address noted here. If you have got a referral on your assignments, as mentioned, do contact your unit's tutor to ask for advice and support. Finally, overall the advice would be that if you are struggling with any aspects of your work at the university, do not suffer in silence and contact Clare Street as soon as possible. Claire will then be able to advise you of what action you may be able to take. Remember, it is important because if you do not submit work for a unit for which you are enrolled, you will automatically fail that unit. So what next? Go to podcast 3 for information about accreditation of prior learning and some useful podcasts.